letter to Santa today.
Well, what was on it?
DVD of all the surviving films of the Lumiere brothers, plus defense against another alien attack until winter's over.
The Lumiere brothers?
Yeah, known as some of the world's first filmmakers. Their film, The Sprinkler Sprinkled, is an all-time favorite. Our story begins with this gardener watering the plants. His son comes along and steps on the hose. When the water stops flowing, the guy goes to check it out. His son takes his foot off the hose. The guy gets blasted and he's pissed off and throttles the kid. And that's it. That's the movie. I wonder if that counts as a review. Do I get one of my things set in the past badges for that?
We have an incoming transmission.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Santa!
To answer your question, yes, it would, if you do your rap, rant, and verdict.
Well, I could mention that the movie came out in 1895. It is noteworthy for being one of the first cases, if not the first case of slapstick comedy put to film. Every physical comedian from Art Buckle and Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, Peter Sellers, Leslie Nielsen, and even Jackie Chan owe this film a huge debt of gratitude. All that being said, my verdict is... yes!
I just called to say sorry. I could not find the DVD.
What about Defense from Aliens?
Oh no, I learned my lesson dealing with those beings back in 1964. Eee.
Uh-huh. I see.
But thanks to your friend Ralph, I'm way ahead of schedule, so I decided to give he and Xylo the night off to help you with your special. I'll pick them up later.
Thanks, Santa.
So, what are we watching?
You guys are gonna love this. Has one of my favorite things. Robots that murder people. Doctor Who, The Christmas Invasion.
Have you ever reviewed an episode of Doctor Who before?
No.
Don't you think this episode is a weird place to start? I mean, it is picking up directly from that two-parter where the Ninth Doctor and his companions, Rose Tyler and Captain Jack, are forced to participate in interplanetary reality shows as part of some long game by the Daleks.
Oh yeah, and then Rose looks into the time vortex and absorbs all that energy. Then she goes Dark Phoenix, only it's killing her. So the Doctor absorbs all the energy out of her, so it'll kill him instead. But only because he knows he has bare minimum 4 more lives left.
Don't forget Captain Jack. He gets left behind until the BBC could decide if they should give him a spin-off or not. In retrospect, based on the actions of the actor, probably not.
Nick, just for future reference, can you make a backstory alarm?
Well, I was planning on making my New Year's resolution blowing up the moon, but that'd be so much easier.
And thus our story begins with all the people Rose left behind in mid-2000s Earth. Her mom is putting presents under the tree. Her on-again, off-again boyfriend Mickey is at work as a mechanic. Somehow, the noise of the TARDIS materializing is heard all over London by just those two people. And of course, they drop everything to check it out. But instead of materializing normally, the TARDIS is pinballing through the air using the estates as flippers. Jackie and Mickey are like, what the fuck is going on? This is only made worse by the fact that somebody gets out the TARDIS, but it's not the Doctor. It's Broadchurch's Detective Hardy. He recognizes them, and that makes things even more weird. He wishes them a Merry Christmas and then passes out. So they assume he's some sort of drunken time machine thief. At least until Rose walks out. They ask her, "Where's the Doctor?" She says, "That's him." They're like, "No, we know the Doctor." Thin guy looks like Destro from G.I. Joe. Rose says, "It's a long story." And then we get the opening credits. They get him inside and into some PJs, which means canonically Rose is the first companion to see the Doctor naked. After all, Jackie says she was too busy robbing the medical student upstairs of his stethoscope, which doesn't do much good in the Doctor's case. Detecting heartbeats is kinda difficult when you've got two of them, which is why Rose doesn't want to take the Doctor to the hospital. She's afraid he'd wind up in a Fox TV special hosted by Jonathan Frakes. Once they leave the room, the Doctor breathes out this orange energy stuff. It floats through the ceiling and out into the greater cosmos. Rose and Jackie don't notice this because they're off getting snacks. Jackie asks, "How did this happen? How did he change his face?" Which, makes sense since even back then, non-geeks only watched Doctor Who whenever we got a new Doctor, or they would tune in to see how the current one kicked the bucket. Rose says, "I don't know. You travel around with a guy on some amazing adventures, and you think you know him. I mean, on day one, he told me he was an alien, but I didn't think he meant an alien. They get interrupted by a press conference on TV. The Prime Minister is talking about the British Space Agency's new probe. A lot of people think it's a waste of time and money because the Americans are super generous with their discoveries about outer space. She says, "I'm not saying they're not, but it's time that we showed them that we can be a superpower again." Talk about knocking on wood. The moment she says the probe should be deploying on Mars, an asteroid comes by and eats it. A little while later, Mickey and Rose go for a walk. Mickey says, "Why do you need 20 pounds again?" Rose says, "Stuff. Come on, you know I'm good for it." Mickey says, "Well, you were gone for so long that I kinda didn't get you a Christmas present, so let's call it even." She says, it's Christmas already? I didn't get anyone anything. If only I had a time machine." Never mind. Mickey says that he doesn't want to hear any more TARDIS or Doctor shit for the rest of the night. Just a good old-fashioned Christmas. Too bad these Crichton 4000 series mechanoids with flame-throwing trombones have other ideas. They try to raise the place. They realize these big alien nasties are looking for the Doctor, so they catch a cab back to Rose's place to protect him. They try calling her mom to warn her, but you know how moms are at Christmas, always calling friends and family. During all this, the Doctor breathes out more of that orange stuff. They get to the door and get her mom to hang up. They say, "Hey, we've got an alien attack. We gotta get out of here." Jackie says, "Where are we going? After what happened the last 2 times you came home for a visit, all of our friends are gonna say there's no room at the inn." Rose looks around the room. She says, "Hey, that Christmas tree looks a little bigger than it did when we left." Jackie says, "Wait, you didn't send that over?" Rose says, "Nope." Then the tree attacks them, but they're in luck. It's less evil dead and more Tasmanian devil. Their first thought is to protect the doctor. Then the tree demolishes the furniture and the walls. In a last-ditch effort to save themselves, they put the sonic screwdriver in the doctor's hand and shout, "Help us!" He snaps to attention, pushes a few buttons, and the tree explodes. They go outside and see those creepy pasta Santas. The doctor scans them and says, "Pilot fish. They were trying to siphon off some of my excess regeneration energy to charge up their ships. Pilot fish are harmless. They're harbingers of something bigger on the way, but now I'm gonna fall unconscious and be unable to help you until long after the major threat arrives." They get everyone back inside. The space agency guy is on TV saying, "Hey, we remade contact with the Guinevere space probe. Just a minor hiccup. Nothing to worry about. So, who wants to see the first live pictures from Mars?" And then it cuts to footage from Doom Annihilation. This causes space agency guy to have to go to a meeting with Prime Minister Harriet Jones at unit headquarters. Unit is, well, imagine if S.H.I.E.L.D. was overwhelmingly British for a supposed UN organization. Jones's assistant says, "Don't worry, I sent out a message to the press saying it was all a hoax. Some college students hacked the signal." Space agency guy says, "Wait, that's not what happened?" Jones says, "Hardly. If this was a signal hijacking, there would have been a guy in a Max Headroom mask." Space agency guy looks shocked. Jones says, "Don't look so surprised. This planet is attacked by aliens at least twice a year. Remember the Daleks? The Cybermen? The Slovene? Come on, you gotta remember the Slovene. How I dealt with that crisis is how I got elected." Unit Tech Girl says, "No time to worry about that. We've got a big spaceship incoming. Oh, and FYI, it seems like they have our probe on board." Meanwhile, due to the power of plot convenience, Mickey has managed to hack into Unit and is able to relay this same information to Rose. The aliens transmit a message to Unit, but these numbnuts forget to turn the translators on. Of course, Rose realizes that she can't understand them either, and the TARDIS usually takes care of that. She assumes that, maybe the doctor's poor health has something to do with that. This general walks in and says, "I just got word from Washington. They want to handle this." Jones says, "Tell the president to get bent. Our probe, our op." To make things worse, nobody in the press, even Nick News, is buying their hoax claim. Jones asks, "Any word from the doctor?" The general says, "Nope." She says, "Well, we better call in Torchwood." The general says, "What's that?" Jones says, "This season's MacGuffin. It's sort of like Bad Wolf, but it might lead into a spin-off series." The general says, "Oh, so this whole scene does nothing but tease the audience." Jones says, "Exactly." A nerdy tech guy comes in and says, "I've got good news and bad news. The good news is I got the translator working. The bad news is, how do I put this? Do you remember when our country were horrible colonizers who would assimilate or annihilate entire cultures so we could exploit their resources? These Sycorax guys are the same deal, only we're the Narragansett. Jones says, tell them today is Christmas, so we're not going to attack anyone. Come back tomorrow and we will kick their ass. The Sycorax leader waves his hand and it starts to glow. Then a huge chunk of the world's population starts marching towards the roof of the tallest building they can find for no real reason. They're all prepared to jump. This happens all over the world. Unit headquarters, Rose's apartment, even Tallahassee, Florida. Though that last one wouldn't be too much of a loss if you ask me. Mickey asks Rose, isn't there something we could be doing here? Rose says, don't look at me. Every time I'm in a situation like this, the doctor gives me some menial task to do while he pulls a rabbit out of his hat. Back at unit, space agency guy said, hey, have you noticed how most of the families affected by this are one parent and the children? Maybe there's a genetic factor. I bet if I go through our staff medical records, I can figure it out. Jones turns to the general and whispers, humor him. I'm going ahead with the Torchwood plan. Space agency guy says, this is interesting. Every staff member that's been mind controlled has A positive blood, and you know how we put plaques and samples on probes so that any alien who finds it can identify the Earth? Well, one of the samples I put on Guinevere 1 was A positive blood. Pound to pound cakes? That's not a coincidence. Jones says, you might be onto something, but I gotta go. Jones goes on TV and says, it's Christmas Day, I know you're used to the Queen giving her big speech, but she's being mind controlled by aliens and could jump off the roof of the palace at any moment. So I just want to say, Doctor, wherever and whenever you are, get your ass down here. But he goes on sleeping. Rose starts crying. She says, that proves it. The doctor's gone. We're doomed. We're all gonna die. Just to drive the point home, the Sycorax choose that moment to breach the atmosphere and shatter half the glass windows in London with the shockwave. Rose and Mickey go outside just to give the ship that we are so tough look. They go back in and get the doctor. Rose figures the best place to hide until this whole thing blows over is in the TARDIS. Jackie says, no, you can't run away. Rose says, well, if you want to die, go ahead, be my guest. Jackie replies, oh, well, when you put it that way. The Sycorax call. They say, will the world leader step forward? Jones says, I think they mean me. So they beam her and her team up to the ship. She says, good, now we can negotiate face to face. The Sycorax leader takes off his helmet and looks at them like, a little help here?
You had a box of ho-hos.
Yeah, that tracks. The space agency guy says, hey, this is all sort of my fault. Look, Mr. Sycorax, humanity is just trying to take its space travel training wheels off. Maybe you can give us a few pointers. Which the Sycorax are more than willing to give him. Well, they give him the pointed end of a disintegrator whip. The general says, hey, I didn't like the guy either, but that's no reason to... He doesn't even get to finish before they roast him. The Sycorax leader says, "You want to negotiate? Fine. You surrender. Either we take 50% of your population into slavery, or we exterminate 1/3 of it right now. Take your pick." Rose, Mickey, Jackie, and the doctor make it to the TARDIS. Mickey asks, "Do you know how to fly this thing?" Rose says, "I used to, but when the vortex energy was drained out of me, I sort of forgot." Mickey says, "Then what was the fucking point of coming here?" Jackie says, "To get a cup of tea?" "Damn, I left all the snacks outside." And she goes back for them. Mickey turns on all the TARDIS's monitors. Maybe it was so we could get a better look at what was going on, or maybe to him it's just not Christmas until he's watched Die Hard. In either case, he doesn't get what he wants. This makes Jones's job that much more difficult. The Sycorax detect the TARDIS and accuse her of hiding alien technology, so they beam the TARDIS up to the ship. Rose wants to know what's taking her mom so long with those snacks. She steps outside, only to be grabbed by the Sycorax. She drops the tumbler full of tea. Mickey tries to rescue her. The tea spills into the TARDIS electronics and starts releasing steam. But we don't have time to worry about that. The Sycorax take Rose and Mickey to see Harriet Jones. She asks, "Is the doctor with you?" Rose says, not exactly." Jones says, "Well, okay then, I guess we're all gonna die." Meanwhile, the steam reaches the doctor. He starts spitting out more of that orange energy stuff, which, if you've been paying attention, happens before and after he wakes up for a bit. The Sycorax leader says, "You, Blondie, you control the big blue box. You speak for the planet." Jones says, "That's not a good idea." Rose says, "Somebody has to be the doctor." Jones replies, "A female doctor? The world's not ready for that. Maybe in 2018. Rose says, "They won't be ready for it by then. Trust me." Rose tries to bluff her way through it like a 12-year-old trying to get their first beer from Walmart. The Sycorax respond with a resounding, "What's in your wallet?" Actually, it's more of a gibberish that geeky guy has to translate until the Sycorax starts speaking English. To Rose, this can only mean one thing. The doctor is back. He steps out with a smile. The Sycorax leader is excited to show him what he got for Christmas. A daisy Red Rider disintegration whip. The doctor grabs the handle and snaps it at him. Then he says, "You'll poke your eye out." The Sycorax are so afraid of this for some reason that they give the doctor the chance to reintroduce himself to his friends. Jones says, "Who are you exactly?" He says, "I'm the doctor. Look, we don't have a lot of time. Once we get out of this, just go look at my unit file, okay?" The Sycorax leader says, "Can we just get on with it?" The doctor says, "We might as well." The leader asks, "What's your name?" The doctor tells him. The leader says, "No way, what happened to the curly hair and the scarf?" The doctor says, that went out with the 80s. You chose the wrong day to invade. Right after a regen is when I'm at my most unpredictable. Even I don't know what I'm capable of. I could walk right up to a blood control machine and just shut it off. And he does. The leader says, "We have more ships, you know." With one phone call, I could make the Earth more full of craters than a 14-year-old the night before the homecoming dance. The doctor says, yeah, maybe. Unless I invoke the third law of sci-fi shows. The leader says, which is... The doctor smiles. Any series left to run long enough will eventually do a Gladiator episode every 2 years. The leader says, sounds good to me. To the death? The doctor growls, no. To the pain. The battle rages on until the doctor gets outside. Everyone comes out to watch. I bet if you look real close, you'll see one of the Sycoraxes selling popcorn. Rose tries to intercede, but the doctor says no outside interference. We don't want the ref calling a penalty and then nuking Finland. The battle continues until the Sycorax leader beats the doctor to the ground and cuts his hand off. The doctor says, ho 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 ho. Now I remember who I am. You are in deep shit now. I'm a Time Lord in the midst of a regen cycle, which means you've just given me a hand. You know, because he just throws a new one. Rose tosses him another sword. He trounces the Sycorax. The dollar store Mologram says, aren't you going to kill me? The doctor says, no, that's not what we agreed to. I win. The planet is mine. Now get the hell out. The gang head back to the TARDIS and the Sycorax leader charges them. The doctor finds a Satsuma in his pocket and throws it at a control panel. Once it hits, a plank retracts, and the Sycorax leader winds up Hans Grubering it all the way down to Earth. The doctor turns to the rest of the Sycorax and gives them a speech about humanity so inspiring that I thought I was watching Star Trek The Next Generation. Until the doctor said, and when you speak of the Earth, tell them it is defended.
What? I'm awake.
Sure you are, dear. Sure you are.
The Sycorax beam them home. Everyone cheers. Everyone but Harriet Jones. She asks, is this sort of thing common? The doctor says, oh yeah, there are thousands of aliens out there. Most of them are a friendly lot, but there are hundreds of nasty ones out there. The more radio and TV signals you send out, the more space probes you launch, the more you're gonna get noticed. The doctor gets so distracted saying hi to Jackie that he doesn't notice when Geeky Guy walks up to Jones and says, we got a message from Torchwood? The mission is a go. Jones says, light him up! A huge space laser goes off and it's Christmas at Ground Zero. The Sycorax ship is vaporized. The doctor looks on and is seriously pissed off. He says, what are you doing? We were safe. They were going home. They were going to tell people not to come here. She says, what if they weren't? What if they come back? Or someone else? What if next time you're not here? The doctor says, I've been derelict in my duties. I'm supposed to protect the innocent from monsters. I should have left you up there. But I can destroy everything you stand for in 6 words. Before we go any further, would you guys like to guess what they were? Fine then, I'll start. Would you like some Willikins coffee?
You cut NHS services to children?
Santa reports all requests for cocaine.
Incognito mode is not private, you know.
It turns out don't you think she looks tired? The gang go back to celebrating Christmas. By the time they're done opening presents and eating dinner, Jones is facing a vote of no confidence. Her political career is over. It starts snowing. Jackie, Rose, and Mickey go out to play in it until the doctor says that's not snow, that's fallout. Well, I better get going. Hey Rose, you coming? And that's it. That's the episode. Man oh man, if 2005 me could hear what I'm about to say, he'd be livid. When the relaunch first started, I was not a fan. I felt that Doctor Who, with good special effects, for the time anyway, real acting from the leads, and actual music was, well, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't the Doctor Who I came to love in my late teens. I love classic Who for its, we've got a rock quarry, an abandoned milk pasteurization plant, and $250. Let's put on a show aesthetic. Then about 10 years ago, I got the flu and was stuck at home during one of those periods where my cable provider would allow you to watch previous seasons of shows on just about any network, even when you would ordinarily have to pay for them. I wound up watching Doctor Who up through the end of David Tennant's run in about 3 weeks. I know David Tennant is considered a fan favorite, but I think he's a mediocre doctor. To quote another British sci-fi franchise, that is his crime. It is also his punishment. He's far from the worst doctor. Peter Davison. But he's far from the best. Patrick Troughton.
Think you meant to say Pertwee. Just saying.
Sorry. Santa's been keeping us up for days.
David Tennant is a great actor, but there are far too many bits like that "don't you think she looked tired" moment that make his version of the Doctor seem petty, if not out and out vicious. That is the exact opposite of what this character is supposed to be.
What's your verdict?
Yes!
Ho, ho, ho! Don't forget to update your counterboard.
Radio.
Looks like you've got 3 of a kind there, which means it's time for a reckoning.
Matt never got around to explaining that.
It's simple. Look at your 3 holiday specials and rank them from worst to best.
Okay, that's gonna be tough. Captain America and Manos were both all kinds of awful. On the one hand, Captain America had real money and a real studio behind it, and it featured real actors. Manos was just a bunch of community theater performers in way over their heads, so it's amazing it came out as well as it did. On the other hand, I can laugh at Captain America. The more I learn about the production of Manos, the less I can do that. So, yeah, Manos is the bottom of the barrel. Captain America is trapped in the middle. I gave Doctor Who The Christmas Invasion a good verdict, so it's the number one spot by default.
Santa, you better skedaddle or Jess will let the rant rap go for hours and you'll never get those presents delivered.
He's right. Ralph, Xylo, time to go.
See you around, Santa.
I hope you didn't deliver the presents to West Virginia without me.
You mean they all 8 good children there? Not a chance. Keep watching Christmas movies, kids. You know I'm gonna. Ho, 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 ho.
I'd like to thank the Film Geek for stopping by and helping out. Please check out his channel if you're into movie reviews. If you'd like to see this channel grow, visit patreon.com/ParityEraFilms and become a patron today. Oh, and share the video, like it, leave a comment, all that kind of good stuff. And see you next time. It looks like Santa left something for Gizmo.
Gizmo, Gizmo,